are talking to Francis Rossi from Status Quo because very exciting. We can announce you coming back to Australia for the final electric tour, the Star and the Goldie, Sydney Opera House, the Vector Arena in Auckland and Hamer Hall in Melbourne. Very exciting news to have you back here in October, Francis.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. As we've said many times, it's one of the best places on the planet. The only thing is if you could move it a bit closer, it would be easier to get there and we could talk to each other at the same time of day. It's kind of weird, but yeah, we always look forward to being there, and there's always things I have to do when I get there. It's usually to do with eating, I'm sorry.
I absolutely don't blame you. Coming back from Europe, I was surprised that we still have better coffee than you guys do.
I don't know if you have better coffee than I have in my house, but we can argue that out some other time.
The tour is called...
I came to this particular house about 10 years, and I now drink 2 in the morning. If I drink past midday, I lie in bed going, I don't want to... Reminds me of the old days too much later. I was lying in bed awake. I don't do that anymore.
We love having you here, and you've become deeply embedded in the Australian psyche over the last 5 or 10 years. I love now that when I go do my shopping, I see 70 and 80-year-old grandmas just doing the air guitar as they're rocking down the aisle. You're firmly a part of the culture forever here now, Francis.
It's strange because coming back, I think it was last time we came back, we were in the lounge at the airport, and a couple of people looked at us and went... I said, what do you mean? They said, Coles. I said, why? She said, you only did it for money. I said, well, I didn't do it for love. You don't make an idiot. You don't make an idiot of yourself on there. But it was one of those things that came about, and there's something about being involved in something that's kind of anything, I suppose, that's successful. But as I said, you have to realise you're going to make yourself look a dickhead, as we say in England. So you get on with it. That's what you do.
I love that you
Let's face it. Most people think we've been dickheads all our lives doing status quo, so we can't get any worse, can it?
I love that you're brutally honest. Yeah, look, I mean, I have seen you guys in some double denim over the years, so look, far be it for me to judge, but there has been times previously as well. I read a very interesting article whilst researching this. Last year, you teamed up with a rapper from the UK and talked about your wildest festival experiences. And there was a story about a Scandinavian festival where you discovered some punter just covered in blood.
We were walking up, it's strange because it seemed to be from the dressing rooms, and these Scanda festivals, they have some really wacky festivals, not like the rest of us. Because let's face it, most of their time is dark and cold, so when it's like that. And we're walking up this extremely steep slope, and suddenly this guy, big long-haired, typical rock and roll fan, came down this thing. He was totally covered in blood, and he said, I've just killed my friend. And the people around us said, just a minute, mate, we've just got to get the band on. And I thought, this guy's just... We went on, did the show, came off as usual, and not one of us said, had the guy get on who killed his mate. I've never asked since, but they obviously took him away. I did something, but someone got killed there, and he said, I've just killed my friend. And they moved him aside, and we carried on. Is that show business for you or what? Yeah, let's get out, the band needs to go on. What are you doing coming in? It's disgraceful. Wipe the blood off yourself. It's mad. This is a mad business, you know that.
Mate, Christmas was a very tough time. I remember waking up in my parents' house, and the first thing I saw whilst laying in bed was the passing of Rick. That was tough news for me as a fan, but I'd imagine as a colleague and a dear friend, it would have been one of the toughest times in your life at Christmas.
It was, but this is terrible. But we saw him die in Turkey, and he died on the floor. And God knows what the medical profession did when they took him away, because the next time I saw him, he was kind of there, but not the man he was before. And subsequently to that, he kind of decided he couldn't work in the band anymore, and which was one thing, okay. So, Rick was still there. His presence, it's a presence, whether he was with us or not. And then we got home on Christmas Eve in the morning, and by midday, he was gone. And that's the weird bit. You become very much aware of your own mortality and so on. And as you said, somebody that I've known since I was 16, there were great times, bad times. It could be a pest, it could be great, and so on, like all of us. And then it's gone. And it's still weird, that's the point. As I said, not being in the band was one thing, but not being alive, whoa, it's kind of final, that is. Andrew Brown, who's a bit older than us, is a bit thinking. He was talking to our PA the other day about going out into Scandinavia in April, and he said to her, "It's nice to see you that optimistic, Lion." She said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, I'm not even sure I'll be alive by then." Again, this is really good early morning stuff. This will wake him up.
Yeah, if you haven't
wake up, get out of bed, come on.
If you haven't had your coffee, this will definitely inspire you to do something with your life today.
Yeah,
I want to quickly touch on that theme of mortality. 2015 was a real tough year. Some huge major icons in music with the passing of so many people such as Bowie and, of course, Rick. Did that really enforce the theme of mortality and wanting to try and do as much as you can while you can?
Well, it's coupled with the fact that, well, should I make the best of the time that may be left or not, which is kind of weird. I've always thought I'd live to 90-something, and I hope to live at least till 80-something, but you just don't know. There was an article in the paper on Sunday, Rick Wakeman had done this thing, and he said a lot of stuff about Rick and various other people, but he said that in, I think, the last year or 2 years, 40 of his friends have died. Now, we all keep saying how weird that is, but think about it. We're all baby boomers. We were all born. Everyone was saying at the time, my God, there's lots of people being born. Isn't it terrible? But logically, they're all going to start popping off at the same time. Plus, we all, we kind of lived the life, didn't we? The 70s was crazy stuff went on. So, and that was another thing Rick had said in this some press statement he did in Sky TV. He said he'd lived a wild life, he's done all sorts of things. He said, now's the payback. Some of it is payback.
Well, that's it. As much as my generation these days, Francis, seem to think that rock stars doing yoga and eating vegan is a little bit naff, it's probably going to stand them in good stead for a little bit longer, isn't it?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, I cleaned up probably when I was 30, 35. It started it off, I can't do this and whatever, and started to look after diet, exercise and stuff. I still exercise religiously. Very
much so. As a man who's just turned 35 myself, I can very much attest to the fact that I suffer for days and days and days on end these days. So maybe the vegan and yoga is in my future. One thing we ask everyone that comes on the show, what was the first record you ever got as a fan?
I think it might have been Walk, Don't Run. It was a John Barry 7 at the time, or Kathy's Clown, the Everly Brothers. But there was this record that when I was very little, I used to keep falling down the stairs. I was very skinny, had a large head, and my mother used to say, don't look down, and I'd look down and fall. And they would all this all over Italy, they know it's concertina, Papa Piccolino, which I realised is it's a shuffle. So I was impregnated with shuffles when I was about 3 to 4 years old. So I talk too much, I know, goodbye.